Peace, my family, and raw back to all. And those coming out of that good cocoon for the first time, welcome. This is your girl, the butterfly, and we about to take off. Let's fly. Just want to send you all that good healing energy your way. Peace, love, happiness, harmony, and abundance. Hope you guys are out there keeping your mind right in that good 9 mind. How y'all feeling today? Hope you guys most definitely moving on up in your higher natures and cleansing the lows. I came on here today to share another clip from a master teacher's book called The L's Holy Injiyl, the book of Revelations. This right here will certainly help you on this good journey within. So with that being said, let's get started. Alright, now, so this is speaking on chapter 12, the continuation of where I left off. And it goes like this. The vision of a woman in heaven crowned with 12 stars and the moon at her feet. Verse 1. And it reads, And there was seen a big sign in Orion's skies, a confidant wife of having been thrown about with the episode sun and the moon underneath her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And there appeared a supreme sign in a Semwa, a woman. She was wrapped by the way of the sun, and the crescent moon was under her feet, and upon her head was a crown of 12 stars. And there was seen a big sign in the Samyama, or the Samami, a confidant wife of having been thrown about with the sun and the moon underneath her feet, and upon her head 12 stars, a crown of 12 stars. And it reads again, And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And it reads again, And there was seen a big sign to the world in the heavens, which is in the Orion skies, a 6-star constellation, a confidant wife who was Hadred Fatima, daughter of Mustafa Muhammad Amin and Khadija, not Mary, the mother of Jesus, as some so-called Christian scholars would have you believe. This woman is also symbolic of the re-establishment of Islam in its pristine purity in the Western Hemisphere, as was practiced by the Ansar Allah community then in the world, of having been thrown about with the sun, saying that she was pure, chaste, and unadulterated, and the moon, Kingu, Leviathan, underneath her feet, symbolic of the reappearance of Islam, and upon her head a crown of royalty and authority of 12 stars, each one representing the 12 tribes of Ishmael, and Neba Joth, one who moved the heights, Kedar, those of black, dark brown skin, Adel, slave of El, Masam, he who makes sweet odors, a perfume maker, Mashma, he who will be tried, or who will be traded and hard. Duma, he who cannot speak. Maza, he who had Ymir, and Damim, true, reveal the burdens. Hadir, he who is the warrior of thunder. Tamam, the dweller of the Arabian desert. Jadur, he who will be in president. Nabahish, he who is spiritually refreshing. And Kedema, he who will move to the east. These are the 12 princes, and is also symbolic of the 144,000 who will be like the 12 tribes of Israel, which only means they will have the natures of the tribes of Israel, and they will possess their different personalities. And it reads on, and she was pregnant, screaming because her labor pains, suffering from the pains of birth. And she was pregnant, screaming because of her labor pains, suffering from the pains of birth. And she was pregnant, screaming because of her labor pains, suffering from the pains of birth. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And she, Hadarat, Fatima, was pregnant, screaming because her labor pains, suffering hardships from the pains of birth. Christians teach that this woman who is experiencing the pains of childbirth in the Holy Christian Church, which is impossible because if the woman is symbolic of the church, then the church gave birth to Jesus. This is just another one of the many contradictions that these so-called scholars use to try to explain the meaning of the scriptures. And the two sons, Hamim, Hassan, and Hamim, Sinai, who came through her, which was the rebirth of El-Islam and the new city of peace. The child born in her also represents the coming of the rebirth of the elite few, the 144,000 that will come forth from the Holy Tabernacle Ministries. Her labor pains simply meant that her family, the that family of the house, and all those who follow them because of their belief in the Most High Sustainer, and because they kept all the laws of the scriptures and underwent persecution. And it reads on, the 7-headed red serpent with 10 horns and 7 crowns, verse 3. And it reads, and there seen another sign in Orion's skies, and behold, a big fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And there appeared another wonder in the semis. Suddenly a big red serpent. He had 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And there seen another sign in Orion's skies. Behold, a big fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And it reads again, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And there was seen another sign to the world in the heavens, and behold, a big fiery red dragon, being violent and vicious, projecting desire and evil. The dragon here is symbolic of the beast that will rise up in the days of the last empire, the Babylonian Empire, or the new Roman Empire, as it is sometimes called, having 7 heads, being the major powers of the United Nations, United States, England, Russia, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain, and 10 horns representing the sacred council of the Brotherhood, who made up this new world empire, It is also known as the European Economical Community, or ECC, the common market, and the 7 crowns upon his heads representing the ruling power who are all descendants of the cursed seed of Canaan, Laman, and are succeeding in the controlling of the 4 corners of the planet Earth by instilling a new world order which is not new anymore. The fact that they are the leading authorities of these 7 countries. And it reads again, and the third of the messengers are cast to the planet Earth. Verse 4. And it reads, with his tail he drew 1/3 of the stars of the Orion skies, and did cast them down to the planet Earth, and the dragon star before the female living being who was ready to give birth, so that he could eat her child as soon as it was born. And his tail attracted 1/3 of all the stars of Shammah, and 3 of them upon the earth. And Tannin stood before the woman who wanted to give birth, so that when she gives birth he could swallow her son. And this tail he drew 1/3 of the stars of Samuami, and did cast them down to planet Earth. And Tannin stood before the female who living being was ready to give birth, so that he could eat her child as soon as it was born. And he drew his tail 3/4 of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered to devour a child as soon as it was born. And with the beast called Azazel, the one removed the tail he drew 1/3 of the stars, who were the cherubim, the disagreeable or malevolent beings, often referred to as the 200 fallen Elohim of the Orion skies, who possess 180 degrees of negativeness, and did cast them down to the planet Earth, having a physical seed. These 200 fallen Elohim are your black-skinned, straight-haired beings that came to the planet Earth 66 million years ago from the planets Procyon and Dereka, or Nevada, of the Canis Major star constellation, and set up in the land of Chaldean and the land of Nod. They were in human form. They are also called the Nephilims, or the Anakims. And the dragon stood before the female living being, symbolic of Hadrat Fatima and her descendants, who were responsible for giving birth to Islam here in the West, who was ready to give birth, so that he could eat her child, Almighty, because of the forceful impact of his teachings. As soon as it was born, the evil one tries to touch every Nubian child once it is born into this world. One moment. Alright, now. The birth of Almighty and the renewal of the El Islam in its pristine purity. Verse 5. And so she gives birth to the son, a male child who was to guard all the nations with the rod of iron, and her son was snatched up to Theos and his seed. And it reads again, so she gave birth to a son, a male child who was to guard all nations with the rod of iron, and her son was snatched up to Allah and his seed. And so she gave birth to a son, a male child who was to guard the nations with the rod of iron, and her son was snatched up to Yahweh Elohim and to his seed. And she brought forth a male child who was to rule all the nations with the rod of iron, and her child was caught up into God and to his throne. And it reads again, and so she, Hadrat Fatima, gave birth to a son, a male child, Muhammad, and El Mahdi, a direct descendant, not an actual son, of Haderet, Fatima, and Amul Miami Ali, who was to guard all the nations with a rod of iron, and her son was snatched up to the Elohim after 7 years of teaching at the age of 40, and his seat. And it reads, in the birth of Hamadi and the renewal of the Islam in its pristine purity. Verse 6, and it reads, and the confident wife fled into the wilderness, which had a place ready by Theos, for they would take care of her there for 1,260 days. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had place ready by Allah, for they will take care of her there for 1,260 days. And the confident wife fled to the wilderness, where she had a place ready by the Elohim, for they will take care of her there for 1,260 days. And it reads again, and the woman flees to the wilderness, where she had a place prepared for God, that they should feed her there 1,203 score days. And Hadra Fatima, the rebirth of Islam, fled into the wilderness, and her family ran from the Pale Arabs of Arabia to Egypt, then down to Sudan. After the death of Mustafa Muhammad, family of Hadrat Fatima faced a great deal of persecution. The wilderness is also symbolic of America, the place where Islam would experience a rebirth, which had a place ready by Theos. This place is speaking about Dongola, the Nubia, sudden birthplace of Al-Mahdi, where Hadrat Fatima's descendants eventually settled, for their Nubians would take care of her there, and accept Muhammad's family for 1,260 days, 3.5 years, equivalent to 42 months. The messenger battle in the heavens, and there was a battle in the Orion skies. Michael and his angels fought against dragon and fought his, and there was a great battle in the heavens. Michael and his Malachi fought the serpent, and the serpent and his angelic beings fought. And there was a battle in the Semiyami. Michael Adas Hasaku and his Malachi fight against Satan and his Malik. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the devil, against the dragon. There was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels. And there was in the past a battle in the skies between the Anunnaki, the seraphim and cherubim. Michael, who dares to be like El, also known as Malachi Zordak or Murdoch, and his agreeable arch Anunnaki fought against Zuin, the evil one, and his disagreeable Anunnaki. These Anunnaki, what you would call angels, are simply electromagnetisms caused by electric currents, not the Pale's Christianity or Christianized concept of some Caucasoids or Caucasians, the fat infant with wings. Instead, these are beings, have life forms, but their life, their thinking, and their actions are of a more advanced state. Verse 8, and the Anglos did not win, and there was no place in the Orion skies for them anymore. And were they not able, and there wasn't any place found in the Samuel after this. And Amalek did not win, and there was no place in the Samuel for them any more, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the disagreeable Anunnaki did not win, and there was no place in the skies for them any more. After this war, they were cast out of the heaven, 200 of the 1/3, which listened to Halam, son of Shachar, and Malachi. The remaining malevolent beings repented and became protectors of the holy shrines, the gates of paradise, and the throne of Anu, the Most High, also called El-Elo. And the great evil one was put out of the Orion skies. That's that old Satan's or devils who deceived the whole world. He was put out into the planet Earth, him and his angels with him. And even the big serpent was cast out, that ancient living creature who is called Elis and Satan, who made the whole world go astray, and yet he was cast right down to planet Earth, and his Malachi with him. And the evil one was put out of the Samuel, and that's that old serpent who deceived the whole world. And he was put out and into the planet Earth, him and his Malachi with him. And it reads again, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And it reads again, and the great evil one was put out of the Orion skies. That's the Satan's who deceived the whole world. He was put out into the planet Earth, and his disagreeable Elohim. And the great evil one himself was put out of the Orion skies. That's that snake called devil or Satan, Zuin, the evil one, reptilian, or tarnish the Satan, Zarkar, who is also called Iblis, the rebellious one, who deceived the whole world, who deceived the people of the whole world, because they knew not who he was. They deceived the whole world by making them believe that they were not the evil one's children in physical form. He was put out into the planet Earth, him and his disagreeable Anunnaki messengers with him. Verse 10. And it reads, and I heard a loud voice saying in Orion skies, now comes salvation and strength in the kingdom of our Theos, and the power of Chrysos, for the accuser of our burden and cast down, which accused them before our day and shadow hour. And I heard a supreme voice in the heavens saying, now has come the pure one, and the power and the kingdom of our Creator, and all the authority is for his Messiah one, because of the accuser of our burden is cast down, who was accused them in front of our Creator day and night. And I, Ukiana Bar Zebdi, heard a loud voice saying in Samuel, now comes salvation and strength in the kingdom of our Theo, and the power of the Hamashiach, for the accuser of our burden is cast down, which accused them before our day and shadow hour. And I heard a voice saying in the heaven, now comes salvation, strength in the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ, for the accuser of our burden is cast down, which accused them before our day and night. And I, John, son of Zebedee, heard a supreme voice in the Orion skies saying, now has come the new city, the temple of Elohim, being the tabernacle of the Most High, the pure one, Ha, Mukianis, Yahshua, and the power and the kingdom, the New Jerusalem, the crystal city of our Elohim, and all authority is for his Mashiach, because the accuser, Iblis, Satan, who has been accusing our brethren Adam since the fall in the garden, and thought himself to be better than Zachar, Adam, Quadam, and therefore more worthy of the title of Khalifa or successor that had been given to Quadam, Zachar, Adam. The arch deceiver also blames Quadam for his fall, Adam for his fall. The arch deceiver also blames Quadam, Adam, for his fall, and his whole existence is based on your destruction. He hates you because you have a soul where he only has a spirit, and wants you to forfeit that soul so you won't regain interest into paradise. He who was accused, the cursed seed from Canaan, Laman, son of Ham, and Helmiah, the human reptilian, Canaan, Lucifer, the physical devil, has already been judged and tries hard to hold on to this physical world, and they have no place in paradise because they are the devils or the reptilian seed which accused them. The Holy Tabernacle Ministries in front of our El Elo's day and shadow hours, they never stop their devilishment. One moment. Verse 11. And then came him by the blood, and then by the word of the Lamb, and by the, and it stops right there, and it goes on to say, and they overcame him by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives until death. And the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives until death. And then overcame him by the blood, and then by the word of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives until death. And it reads again, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved him not their lives until death. And it reads again, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, being willing to die, and by the word of their testimony. These are those who have overcome the devil, because they are willing to die like the Lamb, and will become sons after the ancient majestic order of Melchizedek. The blood is the persecution for righteousness' name's sake. They have, and they love not their lives unto death, and they have put aside their old garments and lifestyle, and have taken on a new pure garment in the teachings of Nuwapu. Sound right. Reasoning. Verse 12. Therefore rejoice, you Orion skies, and you that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of planet Earth and of the sea. The Abyss is come down into you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time. So for the sake of this, be very happy. All the galactical heavens, Samawatu, and those who dwell in it. Plague is for the planet Earth and the sea, because of Iblis, the rebellious one who came down upon you all, and for him is a great wrath, because therefore it stops right there after because he has knowledge that a little time remains for him. Okay, therefore rejoice, you Semiyami, and you dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of planet Earth and the sea, for the Yared, rebellious one, will come down into you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time. And it reads again, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of planet Earth and of the sea, and for the devil is come down into you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And it reads again, so for the sake of this truth, be very happy. All the 7 of the galacto-Orion skies, consisting of 3 rims, Nasut, Malakut, and Lohat, including the physical and spiritual planes up to Aoyuan, the 19th galaxy, those messengers who dwell in it for their sake, be happy. Plague is for the planet Earth and the sea, because of Iblis and the evil one who came down upon you all on Earth, and is the reason for all the turmoil that exists here now, and for him, his seed, who are in physical form, walking to and fro. Living on Earth, there is a great wrath, a physical curse of leprosy that are on the skin, infectious and not curable, placed on the genes of the cursed seed, descendants of Canaan, Lama, the first albino. He will not even be able to live under the sun. The reason so many are getting melanoma, skin cancer, from the rays of the sun, because he has knowledge that a little time remains for him. The evil one, Halo Zarkon, was granted respite until the end of the time, so he could prove man's unworthiness. Of the favor of the Most High. The power to rule over man was for 6,000 years, starting with the birth of Canaan, which is the physical manifestation of the devil, high Satan, that occurred 4004 BC, plus then, and then it says plus the 200, plus not the 200, but plus the 2000 AD. Let me repeat this one more time. The power is to rule over man for 6,000 years, starting with the birth of Canaan, which is the physical manifestation of the devil, high Satan, that occurred 4004 BC, plus the 2000 AD, which is the point we have already reached now, meaning his reign is almost up. The end of the devil's reign started June 6, 1996 AD, verse 13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast to the, and it reads again, and when the Tannins saw that he was cast down to earth, he persecuted the woman which gave birth to that planet Earth. He persecuted the male child and the woman which brought forth the male child. And when the Tannins saw that he was cast out to the planet Earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the male child. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the male child. So when The reptilian Zoom saw that he himself was cast down to planet Earth. He persecuted the confident wife, Havre Fatima, who was a symbol of purity and righteousness, who gave birth to that male child. It is the woman who gives birth to the righteous Nubian seed and to the descendancy, the line of the many prophets and guides from which Muhammad, Ahmed, Sama Abdullah was born. He was born 150 years ago, a very spiritual being who authored the prayer book called the Ratib. In it, there is a strength to bind hearts and minds and communities. Ratib is an expression of the mighty feelings about the Most High, and a gratitude and respect for Mother Nature, and an apology for abusing her, with a warning from human beings to stop, or Mother Nature will take revenge, as she is doing today with her hurricanes and tornadoes and earthquakes, in addition to those that aren't artificially made by man. And it reads again, verse 14. And to the woman, to the great wings from an eagle were given, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time and times and a half, and a time from the face of the serpent. So the woman was given 2 wings of the great eagles, that she could fly into the wilderness, to a place where she is sustained for a time and 2 times and a half, a time to hide the face of the snake. And it reads again. One moment. Okay. And to the woman 2 great wings from an eagle, which given, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time and times and a half, and a time from the face of the serpent. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into a place where she is nourished for a time and times and a half, time for the face of the serpent. So the wife Hazrat Fatima, in her way of peace, Islam, which is what is called that old time religion, rights of Abraham, and she was given 2 wings of a great eagle, the United States, for protection by the Elohim and Anunnaki, so that she, her seed, and Nubians, and all nations could fly into the wilderness of North America, into a place where she is sustained, New York. In the same trials and tribulations of fleeing that the children of Israel went through while fleeing from Egypt, that Mary, the mother of Yahshua, went through, the Hazrat Fatima and her children all were fleeing from the devil, is the same with the righteous of today. And the Most High will protect them from a time, 2 times and a half time, a time to hide from the face of the snake, that serpent that deceived Hua Eve and Kwame Zakar Adam in the enclosed garden of delight eastward in Eden. Verse 15. And the serpent cast out his mouth water as a flood after the woman wife, that he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. And the snake spit out his mouth water as food after the woman, so that she will cause her to be carried away by the flood. And the serpent threw water from out of his mouth, a flood after the woman, the wife, that he might cause her to be carried away from the flood. And the serpent cast out his mouth and water as flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. And the snake spit out his mouth and water as a flood, and new media will paint an ugly picture of Islam, the peace. The peacemakers are seen as terrorists and main killers, and when it is actually Zakar Tarnish Satan, it is causing chaos. This flood sent out after the confident wife the tabernacle, so that he will cause her to be carried away by the flood through his web of lies, and the evil one will try to chase the person, purified ones. The evil one will try to chase the purified ones, Muka Lasiana, away. And it reads, verse 16, and the planet Earth helped the wife, the woman, and the earth opened her mouth, And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened up his mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out his mouth. And the serpent threw out from the mouth, and the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And it reads again, in the planet earth the people helped the wife, the tabernacle of the Most High, and the planet earth. And the people opened up its mouth and spoke on our behalf, and swallowed up the flood by putting a stop to the lies and slander which the serpent, reptilian Satan, threw out from his mouth. Verse 17. And it reads again, and the dragon was wroth with the wife, and went to make war of her seed, who keep the commandments of Theos and have the testimony of Christ. And the Titan was angry with the woman, and he went to make a fight to death with the rest of her seed, only those who keep the commandments of Allah and bear witness to the Messiah, Isa. And the Titan was wrath with the woman, and went to make war with her seed, who keep the commandments of the Elohim and have the testimony of Yahshua. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make a war with her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. And it reads again, and the reptilian and his children, black and white devils, were angry with the wife, the woman, the tabernacle of the Most High, and went to make a fight to death by eliminating as many Nubians from the planet as possible in forms such as genocide, birth control, abortions, biological warfare, drugs, guns, etc., along with the rest of her seed, which stems from the enmity that started from the fall of man and the serpent in the garden because of their sin. The Yahweh of the Elohim, who was Akela, also known as Rodoan, and Injiyl, and he would put enmity between thy seed and her seed. And it reads again, and this lets you know the evil one actually has a physical seed. Only those who keep all the commandments of El Elo anew and bear witness or proclaim faith in the Messiah Yahshua, who are a willing sacrifice, will be worthy to be taken up and will become sons of El Elo, those that will not suffer the plagues poured out by the Anunnaki Elohim of a command from the Most High, who is called Theos Anu, El Elo, or Eli. And that is the end of chapter 12, family. Now, if you are interested in reading this, it is on my channel, so if you want to, you can check it out for yourself on the channel. I'll be posting just this section as well this chapter too. And again, this is for you to understand Revelations and overstand and understand, so you can begin to understand the truth and the prophecy of things that is happening right now. So on that note, if you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section. Again, I want y'all to know that you are loved beyond this world. Again, begin to keep spreading that love and be the peace that you seek. Release our master teacher, Dr. Malachi Injiyl. Peace, shalom, hashug, divine love, and wadu. And it's all love.